I always believed marriage was built on trust. But I learned too late that sometimes the very person you die for is the one holding the knife behind their back. My wife, Emily, and I have been married for 9 years. To anyone looking in from the outside, we seem picture perfect, 2 kids, a nice house, steady careers. I worked long hours as an engineer. She was a school counselor. We weren't flashy, but we had a comfortable life. Or so I thought. It started small, late nights at work that didn't add up. Sudden new outfits, she said, were just for herself, a phone that never left her hand. When I asked questions, she had answers ready, polished, rehearsed. Parent-teacher meeting ran late. It was on sale. I was just texting Sarah. And for a while, I convinced myself I was imagining things. But suspicion eats at you like rust, silent and relentless. One night, after she fell asleep, I noticed her phone light up with a name I didn't recognize. Mark. My chest tightened. I didn't open it. I couldn't. But I knew then I had to find the truth, no matter how ugly it was. I installed a small recording device in her car, tucked neatly under the seat. It felt wrong, invasive, but so did the hollow pit in my stomach every time she smiled at me while hiding something. Days later, when I listened back, my world shattered. Her voice came through the static first, soft, nervous laughter, and then his, a man's. Their conversation was damning in its simplicity. "I don't know how much longer I can keep this from him," Emily said, her voice breaking. "You don't have to tell him. We can keep this between us," the man replied. "But last night, I almost slipped. I told him I loved him before bed, but I was thinking of you." I sat there, headphones on, staring at the wall while tears blurred everything. My wife, the woman I built my life around, confessed a betrayal in her own words, and it was all on tape. For a week, I carried that secret like a ticking bomb. I went through the motions, smiling at the kids, going to work, eating dinner with her, while inside I was breaking apart. But I knew what I had to do. One evening, after the kids went to bed, I told her we needed to talk. I set the recorder on the table and pressed play. Her face drained of color the moment her own voice filled the room. Every word, every laugh, every confession echoed back at her. She tried to reach for the recorder, tried to deny it first, but there was no denying her own voice. Then came the tears, the apologies, the excuses. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I still love you. It was just a mistake." But love doesn't survive lies, and mistakes don't stretch across months of secret meetings and whispered phone calls. I told her I couldn't unhear the tape, couldn't unknow the truth. I told her I deserved better, and more importantly, our children deserved a home built on honesty, not betrayal. That night marked the end of us. She moved out within weeks, and though the divorce papers felt like closing a coffin on everything I thought we had, there was also a strange peace in knowing I no longer had to wonder. The recording still sits in a drawer in my room. I don't listen to it anymore. I don't need to. Her words are carved into me, a reminder how easily love can be poisoned by secrets. And if anyone asks me why I don't believe in blind trust anymore, I only have one answer. Because I heard the truth on tape. The silence after the recording stopped was deafening. Emily sat across from me, her hands trembling on the table. Her mascara had already streaked down her cheeks, and yet she kept trying to wipe the tears away as if she could erase what I had just heard. "David, please say something," she whispered. I stared at her, at the woman I had spent nearly a decade of my life with, my wife, the mother of my children, the person I once believed would never hurt me this way. My throat felt tight, like swallowing broken glass. "What do you want me to say, Emily?" I finally managed. "You said it all yourself. You love him. Not me." Her face twisted. No, I do love you. That was, God, I don't know why I said that. I was confused. I slammed my hand on the table, making her flinch. Confused? You were sitting in his car, laughing, planning, hiding everything from me. That's not confusion. That's betrayal. Her lips quivered as she reached out across the table. "I didn't want to lose you. I swear I didn't. I made a mistake." "Stop calling it a mistake." I snapped, pulling my hand away before she could touch me. A mistake is leaving the stove on. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary dinner, sleeping with another man, and then telling him you were thinking about him while lying in bed with me. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. She broke then, sobbing into her hands. I wanted to feel something, pity, anger, love, but all I felt was empty, like she had hollowed me out and left nothing behind. The next morning, Emily begged me not to tell anyone, not her parents, not our friends, not the kids. She wanted to keep it quiet, to work through it, but I couldn't even look at her without hearing her voice on that tape, whispering her love to another man. So I told her to leave. I'm not throwing you out, I said, standing by the doorway with her packed bag. I can't have you here. Not right now. Not after everything. She tried to argue, but in the end, she left with her head down and tears streaming. The kids were confused, asking why Mommy wasn't home that night. I told them she was staying with Grandma for a while. I couldn't bring myself to say more. A week later, I decided to confront the man from the tape, Mark. I tracked him down easily enough. He wasn't a stranger. He worked at the district office, a coordinator Emily had crossed paths with through school events. I walked into his office unannounced. He looked up from his desk, surprised. "Can I help you?" he asked. I shut the door behind me. "You already have. You've helped destroy my marriage." His face drained of color immediately. He knew. He didn't even bother pretending. "Look, David, I cut him off, pulling my phone out of my pocket. "Save it. I've got the recording. Her confession. Your voice. Every word. Don't bother lying to me." He leaned back in his chair, guilt etched into his expression. "I never meant for it to go this far. She told me things weren't good between you two, that she wasn't happy." I laughed bitterly. "Oh, so that makes it okay? She tells you a sob story, and suddenly sleeping with another man is justified." He shifted uncomfortably. "I cared about her. I thought maybe she'd leave you." The audacity of it nearly made me swing at him, but I kept my hands clenched at my sides. Violence wouldn't fix anything. "You thought wrong," I said coldly, "because now she's lost everything. And you? You're nothing more than a coward who hides in other men's marriages." I left his office before he could respond. For the first time in days, I felt a strange clarity, not peace, not relief, but certainty. The picture was complete. 2 weeks later, she came back to the house, asking if we could talk. I let her in, mostly for the kids' sake, but also because some part of me needed closure. She sat on the couch, wringing her hands, her eyes swollen from crying. "David, I ended it with him. I swear. I told him I can't see him anymore. I just want my family back." I studied her. The woman who once held my heart in her hands now looked like a stranger begging for mercy. "You ended it because you got caught," I said flatly, "not because you realized what you were doing was wrong." She shook her head frantically. "No, that's not true. I still love you. We can fix this. Please, for the kids. The kids deserve two parents who respect each other." I cut in, "Not a home filled with secrets and lies. You didn't just cheat on me, Emily. You cheated them out of a stable family. Do you get that?" Her sobs filled the room, but I didn't waver. I had already made my decision. "I'll never stop you from being their mother," I said, my voice steady. "But as my wife, that chapter is over." The divorce was finalized 3 months later. The day I signed the papers, I sat in my car for a long time, staring at the ink as though it was a death certificate. In a way, it was the death of the life I thought I had, the death of the trust one gave so freely. And though the pain didn't disappear, I knew one thing for certain. I'd rather face the heartbreak of betrayal than live forever in the shadows of a lie. The tape still sits in my drawer, but I don't need to press play anymore. Her confession plays in my memory whenever I close my eyes. It's a wound that healed into a scar, a permanent reminder of the night I learned the truth.